these are a couple things, couple toys that I have that I feel like I'm in grade school again for show and tell. If I only had stuff like this when I was 6. This is the grain mill, and this is for grinding wheat. And the purpose of grinding wheat is, of course, to make bread. And so with a little water, after you grind this, you are able to make your own bread. Hip flask. I don't know how this has anything to do with preparedness, but you never know when the edge might need to be taken off. This is what's called a dive bag, and I've got 2 sizes of this. This is small grain. I'm actually going to be ordering a large one in the very near future, but we do know Portland's wet, don't we? Yes, it certainly is wet. There's even some rumors about some snow coming up here maybe later on tonight or Wednesday. But obviously this is a dive bag, and if there's a flood or some sort of a situation like that, something like this would definitely be an asset to you. Okay, stainless steel cook sets. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. You do need to have maps. You know, don't be relying on your GPS. Whether you're going camping, you're going to head to the hills, you're going somewhere in Oregon, you need to have a map. And things like this are essential to knowing your way around Oregon. People have called into the show and they've talked about back roads and some of these places being closed off. By having older manuals, you'll have access to those original roads before they change the map. A lot of this stuff's going on. One thing I got to say about the meat grinder. You don't want the future cannibals of the world that did not get prepared, that think all this is funny, to have a meat grinder. I'm just saying. If you're going to get prepared, you might as well do it in style. There's so many ways to do it, and there's so many things that's not just preparedness related, but good for the house. But canned butter, you really can't argue with that a whole lot. And this is in my kit. I've got a lot of this. I've also got some cheese. This is from Australia. Now, I hope you don't think this is an infomercial, because I actually live like this. I actually believe people should be prepared. This is a waterproof, watertight case. Perfect for a storm. It would go great in the dive bag. And one of the things that I have yet to learn, and one thing I want to mention on the show, is that at the Portland Preparedness Center, we're going to be having a survival skills workshop on February 26th and 27th, so you want to put that on your calendar. February 26th and 27th, we're going to be inviting you down. The cost is free. It's more than grabbing your kit and running out to the woods. It's being prepared to do that, having those skills, but also being prepared for a situation where we're going to stay in the city, but we may be without power, and we have to rebuild. We have to organize. In fact, if this whole thing goes down, and we get a CME, a solar flare, that takes out our grid, don't think that the capital of Portland's going to be downtown. Don't assume Portland's going to stay Portland and that we're not going to break off into different neighborhoods, different communities with, say, a different name, with, say, different leaders. A lot of you go nuts out there trying to explain things to your family and your friends and your loved ones, and they don't get it. I meet people every day getting divorces because the husbands get prepared and the lady thinks he's crazy. And then I meet the reverse. The lady's getting prepared and the husband thinks she's crazy, and I've gotten the emails. My boyfriend likes China. My boyfriend says China should lead the New World Order, but I know what's going on, but he won't listen to me, but he puts me down. You know, so I get that. And then I get the reverse. You know, I've got food and this and that, and my wife, she saw all this, and she split. And some people, they're getting prepared, they're getting stuff for their wife, but they have to hide it from their wife because they don't want their wife to freak out. I can't live like that. I don't understand how people live like that and stay in relationships when they're not able to really be honest and say, look, this is how I feel. Be respected. And I care about you. And we need to talk about this. You know, if you're putting down and you're watching this show along with your wife, your significant other, and you're putting them down because they're concerned, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. The Beatles, nothing's gonna change my world. I've got guns and I don't need food. I watch the UFC and I think I can fight. I like the government, so therefore maybe they'll come to my aid. If you've got those belief systems, obsolete belief systems, those fallacies, those tapes run through your cerebral cortex, you may be a jeopardy to the safety of your family. But I hope you think about things, and I hope you observe what's going on around you, and you come by and see me at the Portland Preparedness Center. I won't hold a resentment that it took you this long to wake up. I will do my best to help you. Now let's go back to some of the stuff. What if you've got to grab and go, and you've got to take some water, or a water carrier, but you can't take that big 55-gallon drum? We've got stuff like this. We've got the Folda carrier. First aid kits are always important, and that's where I was going next. 237-piece first aid kit. And this I've got to learn how to use. This I feel in my mind's eye, I've got to learn how to patch someone up. What would you do? What would you do? What would you do if there was no hospital? And of course, someone was stabbed and you had to close the wound. So at the Portland Preparedness Center for free, come on down for more information. Get on the email newsletter. Go to portlandprepare.com to sign up for that. We're going to have combat medicine classes. I could be sitting here telling you about all this stuff going on with the news. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! Lions and serpents and chemtrails and FEMA camps and vaccines. Oh my! Preparedness? I think that's more important. I think, have we got to the point now, folks, that we're ready to take our preparedness plans to the next level? Knowing there are thousands and thousands of birds dropping all over the planet. We'll talk about that later. It's 7:10 already. We'll blast through it. What more do we need? Now, here's a shortwave radio. It's not the Sea Crane, as sold on Coast to Coast AM, but it is a wind-up shortwave radio. Why are shortwave radios good? Because if it's hitting the fan in America and there's a power outage, maybe there's someone somewhere out there transmitting some information, perhaps pirate radio. I think there are some people that are getting ready to do such a thing. If it's the fan, think they live. So you want to have access to some sort of radio, even if the grid is out. So this is my other water bottle. Wide mouth stainless steel. The Clean Canteen brand is the standard. It's the top brand for clean canteens. I'll tell you what, you see a $3 bottle from China that says stainless steel bottle, you better think twice about drinking out of such a container, unless you know the company's legit. We've got the pocket chainsaw. This is a cool little item if you're interested in water filtration. Runs about $11 and good for about 20 gallons. We'll take the phone call in just a minute or so. I'm going to sit down and cover some news. I remember playing with this. My grandmother's when I was a little kid. I would just, she had a lot of interesting stuff.